What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another UAP Tuesday. It's the big thing. Thanks for joining us here today. Tim Burchett, man, he looked disappointed when he came out of the skiff, said he didn't learn nothing. However, we talked about it on this show with the new Speaker of the House. There, it seems to be. Tim Burchett said, hey, listen, this guy wants to get to the bottom of it. He wants to figure it out. And we've been saying that for a while, that whoever they voted in was going to be in favor of getting down to the nitty-gritty. They're also saying that it's a potential now that they're going to get this committee that McCarthy said no to. Well, apparently they might say yes now. So we'll talk about that. Tons of sightings over Peru, one in San Diego. There's tons of stuff that we'll get into for sure. And the big question that people are asking, as there was this big space race back in the day, and maybe this for forever has already been going on, but are both China and Russia ahead of us in the UFO technology? Let's talk about all that and more on today's show. If you're brand new to the channel, you've never been here before, click that button, man. We are almost there. We should be there within the next week and a half, but you guys can get us there faster if you hit the button. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers, so click that like button. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. It is the UAP Tuesday show. It's myself and Mark Reilly. Let's do it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the big thing. UAP Tuesday. Thanks to everybody who's been joining, myself and Mark Yodius Reilly.
Happy UAP Tuesday, and more importantly, Kristian, happy Halloween.
Happy Hull-oween, if they will. Hull-oween.
I can't believe that was a thing.
I can't believe that was a thing. Every 5 seconds, I guess you and I have been doing shows with Roxy for so long that her Boston accent is just her Boston accent. And she was saying in the hole. And people were like, it's a hole, not a hole. I literally was saying this every 5 seconds going, no one said hole. No one said hole. No one said hole. She's from Boston. No one said hole. And then finally, Roxy sent me that video. Yeah. And I said, can I just turn this into a short? Because she sent that for us. And I said, can I turn that into a short? Because that way, instead of me responding with my comments, I'll just send your response. She's like, please go ahead. So yes, Roxy,
this is my reaction going into the comments that day. I was like, let's go in there and I'll do this later.
Yeah, everything that we were talking about was
maybe I wanted to get into it. Yeah.
But here's the here's the reason why I can't be upset about it. The episode did very well.
Good.
And it's because so many people were commenting on the video that it got into more into the search engine, and more people found this show. So nonetheless, look, yes, everybody was aware, all three of us, that it was the hull of the ship, not Hulk, hull of the ship. We're very aware of that, and that they breached the hull. So thank you for everybody who chimed in to let us know. But we've got more that you can chime in on today. Did you wind up watching the George Knapp the George Knapp stuff?
I haven't watched that yet.
It's good.
I'm sure it is.
It's real good, and it really makes me. I'm going to start diving deep into his podcast that he does with Jeremy Corbell now.
Yeah, I am going to live vicariously through you. I'm going to need and ask help from everybody out there. My wife is very pregnant.
Yeah.
The things that I want to watch, she doesn't want to watch them. I can't. I'm trying.
I know it's hard. It's hard. You got to come and watch it.
But it's fine. She wants to watch horror movies because it's Halloween, and so my child that is baking in there is getting a healthy dose of Halloween movies and horror movies.
She's going to be scared out of their mind, or
no? She's going to come out just like
ass. Yeah, like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, there you go.
So there, look, and as I said to you, and just to kind of make a repeat of what we've been talking about when we started the show, and for brand new people, by the way, so that people know this, and I won't do this every week, but I feel we gained so many new people last week that I should reiterate this. People were like, hey, just to let you know that you guys, when you say certain things like this, you don't come off as experts. We are not experts. We don't even pretend to be experts. We are people who literally started to follow this stuff, and
as the hearing started, as
a little bit before that,
Yeah.
before that, we were always interested in it.
yeah, it was the conversation. It really, and that video,
It was the New York
and
Times
it
stuff.
just kept talking about it, and then that documentary that you watched really kind of.
That's the one that kind of ignited it for me. So when I tell people the reason, if you're coming to this, look, there are people, as I just mentioned, Jeremy Corbell, or Graves, and David Fravor, Ryan Graves. They all do stuff. They're all like those guys. Those the last two are obviously have witnessed it. Like George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, all these people who have been in this forever. Like that's really, you want to get into the deep dive of people who've been covering it. Like that's where you go. Or James Fox, that's where you go. As far as that's where I go. But like if you want to if you're just kind of stumbling into this now and saying, oh man, I'm asking questions and I want the regular people to ask questions. That's what this show is for.
Yeah.
So, yes, we understand. Like, tell us when we mess up the names. Tell us when there's certain things that we should look into. Perfect example. We watched that turkey video last week with Roxy. Apparently we didn't watch the whole thing. Like there was at the end of it, there was like the bigger thing that happened. And like, I'm flying by in this. I'm pretty casual. And as I'm looking into the news, that was the other thing with the point of this whole conversation was that I had said to you up top, and I will never say this again, and I don't think you will either. When we first started, I said, I don't know how much information we'll ever have to do a weekly show, but maybe we'll do once a month. And then there's tons of information every week that when you get down the rabbit hole, you just find out that people are talking about this stuff all of the time and their stories all of the time.
I'm happy to join in this because it's fun to know. And I love the disclaimer up top because I just reiterate that what you just reiterated. We're just two regular guys wanting to talk about this. I will keep saying I've had my own experience that is so insane and fun and sticks with me to this day. To see it all out there now, these rabbit holes that we can go down, the footage that we see online, and that we can have these conversations. I don't know if that's real. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I'm learning so much, and it's fun. It's.
I guess I was gonna wait to do this because
I think we should
just do it now. Like, so the other night I was taking out the trash in front of my house. And I looked up, and I just see and I've done this before. I've been looking up into, especially now after doing the show, I'm looking up into the sky. Going,
You've been wanting this.
I've been wanting to see things.
Right.
And I see, and I cannot tell you how many times I've looked up and seen, there it is. And then I look over, and there's a star, and then there's another star, and then there's another star.
Or a helicopter.
Right. That happens all of the time. So the other night, outside and down the trash, and I look up, and there's a star. And I look up to the right, no other star. I look to the left, no other star. I see a plane kind of in the distance, another star. And I'm like, all right, well, let me see. And I look at it, and it stays, and then it goes like this. And I'm like, well, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. So I'm like, what is it? So I run into my house, and I get my phone, and I'll play what I recorded. So I looked at it. And my wife's like, "You look like a crazy person. You're just standing by the trash, looking at a dot, going back and forth." And I took my 12-year-old, and she's out there. She's looking at it. So I immediately call Reilly, and Riley's at dinner. And I go, "You got to look at this. You got to see it." And
sitting down to dinner.
And Riley's wife goes, "It's a helicopter." I go, "The helicopter would blow up if it was that high up in the air."
Balloon.
Well, she said it was a balloon. I said, "There's no way this is a balloon." It was and I'll play it for you guys in a second. And then Reilly looks at it again because I told him to zoom in, and you're like, "Okay, I don't know what that is."
Yeah.
And I sent it to Attack Peter. He's like, "I don't know what that is." So let me play the video. All right, so this is what I sent. The first thing you say is, again, it's zoomed in, it was very far away, and you guys are going to say the same thing. I don't know what that is, and I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. But here's what I was looking at. Like, so that dot is what I was staring at like forever.
What's around it? I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I pull back, and you'll see it, and it's just in the sky. But there was nothing else out there. There was no clouds. There are some clouds actually. When you pull back, there's clouds, but there was no there's nothing. See, now when I pull back, now that's all clouds around it, and that's the first one, and then this is the second one, right? So this is when it starts kind of bouncing around a little bit. Now you'll see it kind of move. Watch. See, now it's moving, and you'll see it kind of. and then it goes away.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it was. I have no idea. And it could very well be absolutely nothing.
Probably.
It was probably nothing.
I mean,
But I
it's
have
like,
never seen anything do that before.
it's weird. I don't know what it is, but it's funny. I went through something similar to what you're going through. I think I had my eyes to the sky before and after my experience, because I was again talking about my friend Kai, who had who I said is saying he has been abducted. I was looking in the sky, and that's when we saw something that turned out to be the lanterns in the sky. When we were like, oh, because we saw it in the paper after. But then, so I don't know what that was.
So I don't know what it was.
The chances it was, what we're maybe talking about.
But do you know why I wanted to bring it up? Because it goes back to how many reports there are. Now, I didn't report this. I didn't bring. Then
You could have too.
But this kind of brings up 2 points. Part 1. Let's say it was absolutely nothing. Let's say it was a balloon. Let's say it was a gas. Let's say it was something. Let's say it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I reported it. Well, that would be one of the reports that goes into the stats. That
there you go.
X amount of things can be explained, right? That's part 1. Now, let's say it was something, and I didn't report it. That's yet one of the many times that somebody has seen something that hasn't reported part of that 12% of things that cannot be explained.
I didn't report anything when I
That's
saw
what
mine.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like, how many times have people seen things and you've gone, okay, well, I just, like, the reason why, if anybody says to me, like, in the comments or anything, too, that was clearly nothing. It was just a thing. I can't say anything because it was so far away. All I know is that it was a bright light. It bounced left and right. It moved away. And the other problem is I do this show now. So when I do this show, people are going to say exactly what you said. It was my co-host going, well, you kind of want to see something at this point, right? And that's what because my wife, by the end of the night, wanted me to stop talking about it because she started to go, well, are we safe? That's what she said. Because I believe that I said, look, and I said to her, I said, I don't know what that was. I don't know what it was. I said, I just don't, I never said, not once did the words come out of my mouth, I just saw a UFO. Not once.
Yeah.
I just said, I don't know what that was. Which goes back to the whole point of the conversation. If there are things flying around in the sky that military pilots are going, I don't know what that was. And they saw it a lot closer than I did.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect example of what we're talking about. And down to the smallest, simplest explanation of I was taking out the trash and I saw something in the sky. And it's just something bouncing. I have no idea what it was. It didn't look like a helicopter, a balloon,
There was
or this, or
nothing
that,
else
or
around.
this.
There was nothing else. Like last night, I looked like, oh, there, and then looked to the right, and there was a star. I looked to the left, there was a star, and the thing was just a star.
Yeah.
This thing I saw wasn't a star. I don't know what it was.
Well,
but it wasn't a star.
This is forever my favorite story about your wife grabbing the phone out of your hand.
Oh yeah, what did she say? I forget. She said he's standing by the trash. Looking
Sorry, Mark, Julie, enjoy your dinner.
Yeah.
He's been standing out here for 45 minutes like some weird, creepy
old
man. Yeah, no, old, creepy. No, God, I want to get it right.
My glasses on and my pajama pants.
Sorry, Mark and Julie. He needs creepy, weird man. Something like that.
But
But the problem
is that, but as it was funny, but it lends itself to the taboo.
Yeah.
Because I tried to go and get her, by the way.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get her. So my 12-year-old was there. I said, come here. and she's going, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. But I had to kind of downplay it to her because she had to go to bed. So I didn't want her to, I'm like, it was nothing. It was nothing. Go to bed. It was just, who knows what it was.
Right.
But that's all I'm saying is that I don't know what it was.
Yeah, and there's probably a good explanation for it in all cases. Maybe, but not.
But the bottom line is there are people now trying to get to the bottom of it, and so that gets into.
Let's talk about that.
Tim Burchett is one of the guys. And they talked about this. I think it was on the Hill or wherever it was. They were talking about Burchett, and him and a few other people were in the skiff, and they had said, well, right now it doesn't seem like anybody's talking about it anymore. Yeah. And what I wanted to say, and I said it out loud, I was like, yeah, because it's right now, look, this isn't, it's important, But as I said to you in the past, when it came to like when the hearings were going on and they were covering Hunter Biden, they were covering Trump's trials, I'm like, those should be stories 2 and 3. The war that's going on right now should be the number one story. It should absolutely be the number one
100%.
story. It shouldn't be. I mean, there are people like The Hill and News Nation and other people still reporting on it as should be, but it's not going to be in the forefront of the news right now, nor should it be, unless, you know, things started landing and telling, and like, that's another story. So I got it when they were like, so that's one of the reasons, but there is still movement going on. And Burchett does seem a little discouraged, and I'll tell you why. All right. So again, this is News Nation. The top quote, "I didn't learn anything." Burchett on the classified UFO briefing. The classified briefing followed a public hearing on the UAPs. A whistleblower alleges that the Pentagon had a secret UFO retrieval program. Lawmakers expressed frustration over the lack of answers. So this is what Burchett said.
What did you learn in there? Are you satisfied?
Absolutely nothing. It just proved my point that, I mean, the federal government learned how to do this during the Second World War. You got to imagine Oak Ridge National Laboratory, Manhattan Project, thousands of people working on an atomic bomb, and less than 12 actually knew what it was, and that was kept secret. I mean, these guys are just the classic, you know, it's like a stovepipe, man. They just got their little bit of information, and it doesn't go, and that's the way they keep this. You can say it's disinformation, you can say whatever, but, you know, if I got to hear one more time, I don't know what I don't know, and it's another layer of the onion, and we threw another layer, and we know where not to go, and it's with these cats. So it's clear to me, I mean, these guys are telling the truth. As I've said many times, most of these folks are patriotic Americans. They're doing their job, but their job, the confines of their job limit them on what they can say to us, because they just don't know. They got to go, and the way they do it is they keep you in so limited that they could go swear under oath and they could take a lie detector test, and they're telling the truth as they know it.
Nothing new. Nothing new. So I think that
This is Paulina Luna
what we're doing,
and Moskowitz.
we have a new speaker now. We're working on getting our select committee, and I'm very hopeful about that. But
Did you hear that?
frankly, it doesn't seem like it's anything other than what we were told. The fact is that Congress should have oversight and the ability to look into and have access to these programs. And the fact is that we're being told that we don't have access to these programs, which defeats the purpose of what we're supposed to be doing.
But your colleagues do have access if they're on armed services.
No.
Oh, really? No members.
Well, they didn't tell us. They didn't tell us who. They wouldn't answer that.
And was anything?
If they have information, they're not going to tell us.
Scott
They
Perry.
either don't know or it's so complicated, the process by which the information could be available is not going to be available. We can't even find out who is allowed to know. We can't find out if members of Congress are allowed to know, what it takes to let them know, what citizens are allowed to know, which ones, who. We can't even find out that, let alone the information that might or might not be available or known to anyone.
Back to
We've got
Burchett.
people on both sides of the aisle. My buddy Jared Moskowitz, AOC was in there, you know, just a lot of people on both sides of the aisle. And Luna on our side, I mean, you know, and General Perry and just everybody was in there. I mean, it was the right people to be in there, and they all left frustrated, I felt like.
That's so nuts all the way around, right? Like, there's so much there because this is what I was trying to tell Roxy last week. And this is what DJ Woolridge does not understand when he says things like, oh, I don't trust him to be able to keep secrets. I mean, certain people in the government, I agree with them. There's certain people that, you know, that are out there and you see on the news all the time. You're like, well, that person would slip up. That's not these people.
Yeah.
And clearly, as Burchett says, like this stovepipe that goes, okay, you can have that. We can give them that. Give them that, but it'll go nowhere. Send those guys because they don't know nothing. Like Burchett said. Burchett was like, yeah, they believe, they know what they know. And they sent those guys because they don't, that's not the guys that we should be talking to.
Right. They'll take a lie detector test.
and they'll pass.
They'll pass it. They know what they know.
Yeah. They send
It feels like it's a brick wall. in some cases.
You could see the frustration pouring out of all of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
I appreciate Burchett so much
Yeah.
because he just is such a straight shooter.
Yeah, he is.
And I like him. You know, I follow the same model in my life, and that is I want people to reach over the aisle. I want people to talk. And I like that he's mentioning that, you know, it's like the usual suspects are there, and united they are sitting there going, God damn it. Right.
They're all frustrated. All of them.
Yeah.
Both sides, Democrat and Republican, all frustrated. And it's like, they you look at them, but the thing that I said, did you hear that? It's what I texted you in Roxy the other day that I said, I guarantee you, Burchett was one of the people that voted to get McCarthy out of Speaker of the House. McCarthy said no to the select committee to get the UAPs. Now, do I think that's the only reason that Burchett put that vote in there? No, of course not. Do I think that it had something to do with it? I do. And because Gates and because Burchett and because Luna, because they all are under the same, they're fighting the same fight, I guarantee you, out. Hold on. Out.
I thought you were pretending to be a Republican talking to McCarthy.
But that's good. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave all of that. Out, McCarthy. Out.
I literally went.
Yeah.
I thought you were pretending like what the Republicans did was
out. I was talking to my
sit, get away from there.
For real.
Get away. Good. He's throwing up.
Right. My dog walked in. He's like, should I be in here? I was like, no, you can't be in here right now. Anyway. So,
thank God it was a Brody. He just,
just wrecking house. But McCarthy was out.
Yeah.
And I said to you,
I
out. Guarantee you, whoever they vote in, whoever it is going to approve this committee.
Sure.
Luna says that's exactly what the deal is. And then they talked about it in this next article.
Okay.
All right, from Deseret News. Now, could Congress form a select committee to investigate UFOs? These lawmakers hope so. At a recent briefing on UFOs, some lawmakers said they didn't get the answers they were looking for. This goes back to what we were just talking about. So a group of lawmakers in the House of Representatives met with chiefs from the Department of Defense and national intelligence community on Thursday to discuss the unidentified anomalous phenomenon, or UAPs. Scott Perry described the effort as meaningless because of the extensive security clearances that were required. We can't even find out who's allowed to know, is what we just listened to Perry tell us. The meeting was requested after the House held a hearing in July where Air Force veteran and former intelligence officer David Grusch could not produce details about any UAP crash retrieval programs because it was deemed classified. Tim Burchett, who led the hearing, wrote a letter in August asking Inspector General of the Intelligence Community Thomas Moynihan to brief Congress about which federal government programs are involved in crash retrievals and inspections. Burchett, who recently launched the UAP caucus, speculated that the meeting was the federal government's ways of keeping information under wraps. And he talked, they quote him for what we just listened to. And then Eric Burleson was convinced that an entity tied to the federal government or foreign was developing an advanced form of propulsion after the meeting with the officials. What it appears to be is somebody has discovered something, some advanced form of technology that may actually change all of our lives. This is what Burleson told Laszlo. But it's clearly an experimental phase, or we're experimenting with it. Reporter Joe Cahill posted a statement from the DoD Inspector General about the Thursday briefing, saying that the Oversight Committee does not determine what information is classified and who has the security clearance for it. The UAPs have piqued curiosity from both sides. Burleson said he wants to push newly elected House Speaker Mike Johnson to create a committee with Burchett as the chairman. Give him the authority. Let him chase the rabbit, Burleson told Daily Wire, talking about Burchett. The American people and the members of Congress know what's going on. So if we create a committee that has purpose for this, it's hard to deny us that we should not have access to this information. Burchett said Johnson seems very receptive to the idea. So that is exactly what you and me and Roxy were talking about.
Yeah.
They're going to go to Johnson, and they're going to say to Johnson, because Burchett's already said it out loud a couple times. I guarantee you, behind closed doors, because we got to remember, Johnson was an unknown. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was at all. And one of the reasons that they said that he got the gig is because he doesn't have a lot of enemies yet.
Yeah.
Everybody in politics has enemies.
Right. He's
certainly
under the radar.
He's got no enemies yet, and he's cutting deals with people. You don't think that Burchett's in there going, I'll tell you what, you got my vote, but when I'm gonna come when I come to you and I need this committee. Burchett is a senior guy.
That's what they're all doing, yeah.
And of course he's cutting a deal. I can guarantee he's cutting a deal. And he's saying, when time comes and we want this committee, you got to sign over to it.
Yeah.
Because the first thing Burchett said is like, now Johnson's on board and wants to get to the bottom of this, is what he said. We didn't hear Johnson say this yet, but that's what he said. And now Luna's mentioned it. They're all mentioning it because that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
And now this committee that Kevin McCarthy said, no, I don't want to deal with it. I got other things. No, you're not getting the committee. No. Johnson's going to give him a committee. And Burchett leading the committee,
that's fine.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
Because when you hear he's the one
There's
guy.
stuff in here that's just insane, though.
What do you got?
So I'm reading from the article that you're on Deseret.com. The lawmakers stayed mum coming out of the hearing, but Representative Eric Burleson, a Republican from Montana, was convinced that an entity tied to the federal government or foreign was developing an advanced form of propulsion after the meeting with the intelligence officials.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just jumping forward.
I read it.
A little bit. No, because I know. But I think the committee is going to happen because of all these things, because of stuff like that.
You're right.
That is insane to me.
I think it's all of that where it's like, okay, because I think Burchett and the rest of them,
because the politics are in there that you're talking about, and I'm like, shut up. Listen to that.
What's that? Yeah.
Go.
But I think that Burchett and the rest of them, like Luna, they all know all that stuff. They know all that stuff already. So like this guy who heard that, so whoa, what's that? And they're like, yeah, that's a small portion of everything.
Right.
That's a small portion of it. It's like, let me, because if Burchett's running a committee, then the men in black, if you will, are going, this guy, man.
Yeah, like look, he just mentioned it, Burchett, in that interview, and I keep not putting it in my thinking. But Oppenheimer and their Manhattan Project, I think this is the precedent that has been set.
How long did they keep that quiet for?
Right, and this is like similar repercussions as far as changing the way we think, the way the world can work and look and see. And it just makes perfect sense. They're going to be like, no. So it's really like the more we get, and you were talking about this every month. Well, we'll do it once a month.
Right.
No, there's so much to talk about.
So much.
And there's stuff that we're going to keep coming to this freaking wall with some of this stovepipe, as you say.
Well, I think that's why.
Like,
you could see the frustration in Burchett's face.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And what he does that I really don't see a lot of politicians doing. What's he say? He goes about Mouskowitz. He goes, yeah, my buddy, Mouskowitz, right? He shows what politicians used to be.
I love that.
And look, I'm
heard, responding to that, man. I'm glad you mentioned it.
I've heard Burchett talk about things on other topics. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. But he carries himself in a way like it used to be, where you're going, okay, I don't line up with that guy's politics, and I don't line up with that. But he presents himself in that. I can follow him there. There's other people on both sides of the coin where you look and you go, well, that person's doing that.
Yeah.
And saying that, I'm like, I don't know if I can be on board. I definitely can't be on board with that ever, no matter what they're talking about.
Oh, I know what
he carries himself.
I feel the same way. It goes to my, when McConnell had that issue when he's up at the podium there, and it comes around to Biden, and he's I called my friend, and I asked how he was. I mean, and that's Biden being a part of the Senate for just his entire life. McConnell, same deal,
and he got crap for it too, because he said that.
Yeah, right. And it's like. Why are you getting crap for trying to work with people?
And I think that's what I love about Burchett, is what he's doing right now. As far as this situation goes, he said it. He said it, and then he said, "Look, we got Luna in there. We got AOC in there. We got everybody in there. He said everybody who's supposed to be in there is in there. He's like that. This is we're doing all the right things.
Yeah,
it's these are not the guys we need to talk to.
Right.
Is
I
what he
love
said.
that.
He's
I
like,
love
this
that.
is not this. He's like, he's just like, they're pushing him around in the thing. And that's why, from that frustration and those comments, he's the guy that needs to be in charge of that committee. Like he does. Like he's passionate about it. He's knocking on the doors. He's talking to the right people. He knows he's really diving deep. He does a lot of interviews, by the way, from big to small. He does a lot of different interviews. He's getting his face out there, and he's getting in. And it doesn't feel to me, and I don't know, maybe he's just that good of a politician, but he doesn't feel to me that he's doing this for self-gain.
Politically?
I'm sure politically it's there.
I don't see it. I don't see how this has a political angle. Well,
It does if you prove it.
of course. Yeah. I mean, I had to stop myself there because in this climate, everything's political.
Everything's about it.
Everything. But this is what I'm saying, though. There are so many people because of that stigma, though.
Right.
It's going to follow everybody around.
It is, but
So
it's
they're going to. So there are people.
A UFO senator?
Right.
Right.
To the example.
That's
that
that's his
Kristi-
documentary.
Yeah.
His documentary is going to be the UFO senator. Right.
But this is then that's great. But this is what I'm talking about. Kristi on the stage with other Republicans
Right.
talks about a conversation is brought up about the hearing, the UAPs. He's
I get the UFO question.
and everybody that they make noise, and then all of a sudden he reverses position there. But that is part of that stigma,
Right.
and I'm sure there are a ton of voters out there. On the Republican side of things that are like, come on, doing that.
Of course. It's true. It's true.
So I still believe it's an uphill battle, but having all of those people reach across the aisle and trying to get this done together, it warms the heart. For me, it does.
Mine too. And I'll tell you what, if you don't want to ask questions and you don't think there should be questions, I think you're nuts. But I love nuts. Nuts.com. Let me tell you about them right now. This is the best. Nuts. Get off my nuts. Don't touch my nuts. I love these nuts. I love them. Listen, you ever been to a candy store? You ever been to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory? Probably not the last one, but you can get something close. Check this out, nuts.com. Maybe you can't get to the chocolate factory, but I'll get you close enough. The online version of that is nuts.com. Besides just having a lot of great nuts, they have classic candies. They got butterscotch, they got fudge, and licorice. Cashews, almonds, pecans, pistachios, dried mango, crystallized ginger, dates, jelly beans, jawbreakers, root beer barrels. It goes on and on and on at nuts.com. I was so excited to have them come along. I mean, look at that. That's what I got. That's what I've been eating. That's what I've been chewing on. Yeah, and even that little fat pug that I love so much, he loves it too. Although he can't really eat nuts, but he loves smelling them. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruits, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and much more. They have a wide selection and means that there's something for everyone. At nuts.com, quality, top priority. They roast their nuts and they pop their corn the same day that it ships. They reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed, and I can be a testament. Right now, I'm snacking on these because I love these almonds. They're really good. And I know, not ideal when you're telling people about stuff to have food in your face, but I can't stand it to keep them away from me. They're right in front of my face. I have to eat nuts.com. So again, stay away from my nuts. Get your own nuts. Nuts.com. So listen to this deal. Right now, nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders for $29 or more at nuts.com/bigthing. So if you check out all the delicious options at nuts.com/bigthing, you're going to get a free gift and free shipping if you spend $29 or more. Nuts.com/bigthing. Yes, there are a lot more nuts jokes I could have made. Don't be embarrassed. Don't do it. Listen, did you know that 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime? It's normal, guys. But it doesn't have to be your fate. You can get ahead of thinning with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements use physician-formulated, natural, science-backed ingredients. Their drug-free, patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. Go to Nutrafol.com/men to take their Hair Wealth Wellness Quiz. Identify causes of your thinning hair, and Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair health through whole body wellness. It works. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking Nutrafol men's hair growth supplements. Everybody feels this way as you're getting older. You're like, oh man, am I the only one? Why is this happening to me? This and that. We're in an age now where you can get it helped. You can get it fixed. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men, but you have to enter that promo code BIGTHING. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men. Nutrafol.com/men and enter that code BIGTHING. That's Nutrafol.com/men, promo code BIGTHING. All right, thank you again to our friends over at nuts.com and Nutrafol, both of them great sponsors. Really happy that they're on board. And if you're able to, please go on over to the links in the description. I always pin them into the first comment. It helps out the show tremendously. It helps us keep talking about this every week, and that's how you can support the show. All right, moving over, I want to talk about this other thing that came out that is very interesting because it kind of goes into what David Grusch was talking about. This comes from The Hill, and this says, technology surprise. Are China and Russia ahead of us in the UFO retrieval research? Very interesting report here. This is from the other day. So, last week, a former senior Defense Intelligence Agency scientist became the 10th ex-government official, military officer, or scientist to allege or suggest publicly that the U.S. government has recovered at least one UFO. The overwhelming majority of these individuals also claim that the government transferred the retrieved craft to defense contractors for technical and scientific analysis. Separately, sources interviewed by investigative journalist Michael Schellenberger alleged that defense contractors are studying a dozen or more recovered UFOs. All of Schellenberger's sources claim that excessive secrecy is hindering a comprehensive understanding of the retrieved objects' enigmatic technology. Moreover, an expanded network of sources told Schellenberger that at least 30 whistleblowers' families with these alleged UFO retrievals and analysis efforts have provided testimony to Congress, the U.S. government's congressionally mandated UFO Analysis Office, and the investigative watchdogs that oversee the U.S. Department of Defense and intelligence community. Importantly, the Inspector General for the intelligence community deemed the lead UFO whistleblower's core allegations credible and urgent. Moreover, the whistleblower, former intelligence official and U.S. Air Force veteran David Grusch, is represented by the intelligence community's first Inspector General. This high-profile attorney, now in private practice, sat behind Grusch during an extraordinary July 26th hearing. As Mike Gallagher, a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, stated recently, new projections enacted by the Congress resulted in all sorts of UFO whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork. These individuals, Gallagher said, are telling congressional investigators they are part of this or that UFO program, resulting in a variety of pretty intense conversations. As Senate Intelligence Vice Chair Marco Rubio has put it, one of two astounding possibilities is now at hand. Either, this is the one, Reilly, that to me is very intriguing.
Yeah.
Either dozens of credible individuals are gradually revealing the biggest story in human history, or a sizable cohort of high-level government officials holding top security clearance are crazy. Reflecting on the stature of the individuals who spoke to Congress, Rubio asked rhetorically, what incentive would so many people with that kind of qualification, these are serious people, have to come forward and make something up?
Right.
Indeed, giving the penalties for making false statements to investigative agencies is unlikely that these individuals, some of whom claim direct first-hand knowledge of the retrieval program, are participating in a sophisticated disinformation effort. So, are numerous high-level government officials delusional in making false claims of first-hand UFO knowledge to investigators? Such a stark case of social contagion would amount to a concerning and extraordinary development. Moreover, if dozens of senior officials are indeed crazy, they still have convinced key members of Congress to treat their extraordinary allegations with seriousness. There's a lot more here, by the way, because I want to get into that UFO thing. The Russian and the Chinese part of it, because we didn't even get to that yet.
Yeah, that's
This is the biggest. This is what I'm leading. This is what
This
I'm
is
going to
all
put the thumbnail.
leading- yeah,
this
this
is the
is-
thumbnail. This is the conversation today. This is probably why you clicked on the video to hear us talk about this, because this is massive. This is a story. This particular story is a story that should be at least on like Lester Holt, right? You know, like Lester Holt does. Like the reason why like Lester Holt on NBC to me, it's just you just click on it and they cover the 5 big news stories of the day, and there's not really a lot of opinion pieces on it. Like if you go to CNN or you go to Fox or you go to these other networks, you're going to pretty much have a particular point of view, at least one. They're all opinion shows one way or another, right? They're reporting on news, but there's still opinion pieces with particular sways, right?
right.
So whether it's David Muir, whether it's any of these shows, the nightly news shows, this story
Yes.
should be somewhere.
It's terrifying.
Should be somewhere, because this is one of those things. Granted, not the first story, but it should be like and the main story is, for years, this is the story. For years, people have been saying inside, like people with high level clearance have been saying, A, we have retrieved UFOs, many of them. B, we've been working on them to reverse engineer them.
They've breached a hole.
They breached the hull. The hull. They have breached the hull.
Sorry.
But yes, but that conversation that we had last week.
Right.
Yes. And now in this story, the story that should be talked about is every other week another high-level person inside of the government, as Rubio said, is either coming out to say, hey, it's time I talk, or they're out of their minds. And that means there's about 30 people out of their minds. There are at least 30 people who are saying this exists. Why are they all making it up? Why are they all making up that we found a UFO? Why are they all making it up? Like, I mean, do you believe in the comments? Because there's always that person that goes, Like, do you believe?
It's Arnold. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I had to be honest with you.
He's in the comments.
I was just
I
trying,
fought an alien.
I was just coming here to see if this is going to find something from a new movie. Instead, you're talking about finding things in the sky. You're standing in the trash for 45 minutes looking at the sky. But yeah, so but you know what I mean? Like, it's like there. You have to ask that question. This story is to me I'm very interested in the Burchett and him leading the thing. This is what he needs. This is what he's going to be going after. This is what you got to talk to everybody.
Well, I mean, the alluding to stories that could break within the next year, as many people have done. This story makes me wonder. Just, is that going to be it? Is that going to be what is going to pull? Because shit, I mean, there's a lot going on in my head right now.
Sure.
When you're reading all this, I'm sitting there worried, because it's what I've been saying as well. The reverse engineering of this stuff is probably paramount to what everybody wants to do with once they get it. And when they're saying like, hey, there are people also saying that Russia and China has this.
About to get into,
That scares the shit out of me. Pardon my French, but when we have it there, when we are saying that as well, then we have the other story that we were just covering, you know, that there's a report that they're talking about propulsion systems, and it's all gearing up into this. What the hell are people? Why can't we talk about this? It makes me think of Don't Look Up, that movie. That it just.
Well, let me hit this part of it too, because I have a lot of thoughts that tie into what you just said because of this. So continuing on, in July, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, along with bipartisan group of 5 other senators, introduced remarkable UFO-related legislation, following reporting that China and Russia may also have retrieved UFOs. Language in the legislation alluding to the increasing potential for technology surprise from foreign adversaries takes on a particular significance. While the exact details of foreign UFO retrieval and reverse engineering efforts remain murky, Grusch described a publicly unknown Cold War recovered and exploiting the physical material, a competition with near-peer adversaries over the years to identify UAP crashes, landings, and retrieve the material for exploitation, reverse engineering to garner the national defense advantages. According to retired U.S. Colonel Carl Neal, who served alongside Grusch in an early iteration of the government's contemporary UFO analysis efforts, He says Grusch's assertion concerning the existence of a terrestrial arms race occurring sub rosa over the past 80 years, focused on reverse engineering technologies of unknown origin, is fundamentally correct. This is a retired Army colonel.
This is insane.
This allegation from two former high-ranking defense officials in tandem with independent investigative reporting raise a host of national security questions and issues, and clearly Congress is paying attention. The Schumer-led legislation, for example, defines non-human intelligence as any sentient, intelligent, non-human life form regardless of nature or ultimate origin that may be presumed responsible for UFOs. Notably, the term non-human intelligence appears 24 times in the legislation.
Come on.
Alongside frequent references to biological evidence of non-human intelligence. Critically, the legislation Schumer proposes defines legacy UFO programs precisely as the whistleblowers allege. Any government or private sector endeavors to collect, exploit, reverse engineer technologies of unknown origin or examine biological evidence of living or deceased non-human intelligence. Just importantly, the draft legislation mirrors whistleblowers' allegations that recovered UFOs are now in the hands of defense contractors. If passed as drafted, the bill would require that any and all recovered UFOs and biological evidence of non-human intelligence that may be controlled by private persons or entities be turned over to the U.S. government in the interest of the public good. This is fascinating.
It's
fascinating.
It's where I went. I just couldn't stop reading.
Fascinating. A different section of the same legislation, also sponsored by Senator Gillibrand and Rubio, offers an intriguing glimpse into the programs described by whistleblowers. Beyond putting an immediate halt to any unreported UFO recovery and reverse engineering efforts, the Gillibrand-Rubio legislation describes in some detail retrieval efforts, capturing, recovering, and securing UFOs, scientific study, analyzing retrieved UFOs for the purpose of determining properties, material composition, method of manufacture, origin characteristics, usage, application, performance, operational modalities, and security and counterintelligence, managing and providing security for protecting activities and information relating to UFOs from disclosure or compromise. So of a particular interest, the legislation alludes to the existence of highly advanced forms of propulsion derived from recovered UFOs and based on technology other than chemical propellants, solar power, or electric ion thrust. Intriguingly, followed a classified briefing from the Department of Defense Inspector General on UFOs this week. Eric Burleson stated it appears somebody has discovered something, some advanced form of propulsion or technology that may change all of our lives. Should it exist, such technology could propose new dangers or solve any number of global challenges. But as they say in that legislation, in the sense of Congress section, extraordinary secrecy surrounding the retrieved UFOs is creating technology and security stovepipes that could threaten the nation's global lead in critical advanced technologies.
Yeah, this
is out of all the stories.
This is the one.
Out of all the stories that we have covered, to me, this is the most important one.
Yeah,
this is
it for me.
This is the story.
When you see video evidence finally released by government in conjunction with a New York Times article, then you have Grusch come out and you have Burchett, knocking on things, and then you get slight peaks, you hear things, and then this comes out. It's exactly what I've been talking about. Yeah. You've been talking about. I've been saying over and over again, likening it to Sputnik, the space race. Everybody wants to get there first.
Yep.
They're going to reverse engineer this stuff because they want to be the first. And if you're telling me now that, Russia and China are involved, no kidding.
They've been for a while.
No kidding.
For a while.
But it's the same thing as an arms race.
But I think that's the answer, dude. I think that's the answer for the secrecy. In the same way it was for space, in the same way there was for nukes, in the same way it was for all this. No, it wasn't an understanding. It was the fact that it was like, they can't explain. We can't explain it. We can't acknowledge that we've been working on this stuff because, God forbid, Burchett and all these people shine a light on what we've been working on for 70, 80 years. And something comes out inside of that whole report, and then the Russians or the Chinese use it against us, and now it's like, wait a minute, you guys have been working on that, and it's like, it's over for those people if that comes out. They're going to do everything they can to protect this, move what they can, do it, because they cannot let this come out, because this is 80 years of cover up. This is 80 years. Now, I don't want to hear it of like, if anyone said, do I think there's a cover up? There used to be like an 80% yes to 99.9%. After all this, as Rubio said, why in the world would all these people come forth now after Grusch did? Grusch opened up the floodgates. Grusch is one of the most important people to ever testify in front of Congress. Ever.
I tend to agree with. It's hard. That's a very big statement, but it is important that he's done this, and it's important that he's saying these things because now the floodgates have opened.
Yeah.
So to speak. At the very least, it's just these conversations. When you have our elected officials now saying they're elected officials for a reason, we trust them.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, Jesus, I
trust them for this. I trust them. What they've been doing.
You trust them enough.
They've earned my trust for this particular thing.
Correct. Because, and here's my point. I don't believe, and I'm probably wrong because I don't know shit, what's behind the curtain here. Do they have an Oppenheimer, somebody that understands this? Because my fear is there's no understanding because it is otherworldly, whatever it is we're talking about here. Russia has it. China has it. They don't have theirs. They're all hiding it.
Trying to figure out
what it is. Like a bunch of dumb people sitting around with remember that scene in Zoolander when they're trying to work the computer?
2001.
Yeah, 2001, same deal. I go Zoolander where they're trying to do the computer.
Right.
It worries me because it's about what can we do to benefit us first.
And not the people.
And beat them, China, Russia.
And not tell the people what is. It's like
our own elected representatives going, what do you have?
Right.
It scares the shit out of me.
It's
pardon my French. I've used the S word many times.
But if you look at everything, like this to me is this report of the fact that there's all these different people. And the one that to me is the most like just conclusive is the guy who worked with Grusch who's going, yeah, and the ex-colonel going, yeah, everything he says is true. Like everything's true. Everything he says is true. This is also why I hope now that they've got Johnson in there, that they go, when is the next hearing? And he goes, when do you want it? It's like, when is the next hearing? Because that is what needs to happen. That second hearing really needs to happen if they can indeed get all of these people, these new whistleblowers, these people who came across. There were some of them that I think they were supposed to come in front, and at the last minute something happened. They weren't able to do it. I wonder how many of them would have actually testified. But if they can get another one of these hearings and they can put some of these people in it and get these reports of like the people confirming what Grusch said last time and people who've actually seen certain things, that's what they need. Yeah. Because the biggest criticisms of Grusch that I saw, besides the cockamamie one of the guy who tried to get his PTSD to use it against him, which was just soulless, not that. But the biggest criticism for Grusch, which I understand, is, yeah, but this is a guy who heard from a guy who heard from a guy, is what they say, right? Now, when you listen to what he's done and how many people he's interviewed, if you really dive deep, like we have been and other people have been, you understand why Grusch is so credible, and you understand that the people that he's talking to are probably are legit and have told him these things. Yeah,
it's not the guy on the corner by the freeway holding up a sign,
right? But you understand again, like the DJ Woolgers of the world will be like, who's not following this could go like, well, yeah, but he says he heard from somebody else. You understand that?
It's right. It's in political. Look, many people use it as like when they say, oh, our sources say this, it can be attacked. Right. Oh, they're just making that up.
Right. But that's why I think you need somebody. You need the guys who told Grusch. You need those guys to testify.
Well, yeah. And the articles that we were just covering, I think it frames it perfectly. What they're saying is like either there are 25 high ranking officials that are crazy.
Right.
Or we need to look into this. I mean, that's what it just comes down to for me. All of these people are credible for me.
Yeah, here's my prediction. As Lou Elizondo said, as James Fox has said, as Jeremy Corbell has said, within the next year, as we said, there's going to be more stuff that comes out, right?
Yep.
One of the things that I think will happen now is that Johnson will approve this committee. He will put Burchett as the head of that committee, and Burchett's going to really get down to it, and there will be a second hearing, and the second hearing will reveal stuff that these people are talking about that is going to be, you thought that first one gave away some stuff. The second one was the one. Yeah. I think that's going to happen within the next year. That's what I think. But before I do, and before we get into, we always look at some of the. Do you have something else you want to say about this?
Yeah, no, it's just going back to the don't look up comparison, just because I feel like we are at this point. I think there can be absolutely a earth-shattering information out there that could possibly bring a lot of people together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like there is something more. We have to focus on what's going on in the world, and I understand that. And there is some awful, awful things going that we need to focus and put our entire attention on. But there is something happening behind the scenes that a lot of people don't want to look up and accept is out there. And they have it. Our representatives are looking into it. Please get in there and make this happen. I want to know. I'm starting to get really anxious, yes. Concerned that there is something that could literally be detrimental to the human race.
Or something that could benefit the human race.
Absolutely. Both sides.
Both.
But just they've hinted at it. I'm talking stuff that if they're worried about what the hell is that, it could actually hurt, air flights and all these things. Right. I am just wondering if there is something happening. It's just more and more this stuff just is starting to really make me think.
Yeah, I'm sure. And when you get information like this, and the fact, because this is the most that Congress has ever gotten involved, and it's also why more people are listening to it, because more people are getting in, because when when the senators are getting involved, then they're taking it serious, because then the rest of the public goes, oh,
yes,
well, because I still
it gives
strangely enough, I still see in the comments section people from both sides. They'll go, oh, this is just a distraction from the Democrats. It's like, well, Burchett's a hardcore Republican, right? And then I say, oh, this is just a distraction to get him away from Trump. And you're like, AOC is on that thing, and he shouldn't go, wait a minute.
Also, nobody's really talking about this. It's not in the mainstream media.
It's not in the mainstream.
If CNN is running it first thing in the morning.
Everything, but it's not covered. So that argument is the worst.
It's hard to
that argument's the worst.
When you have a handful of people on both sides of the aisle.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense when you say it's a distraction from it's a distraction from who? From me? From you? I'm paying attention to all that other stuff too, and this. So I'm
capable of getting more news.
I'm capable of all of it, and I'm not even. And most people, it isn't there. Most people are still doing the. Most people.
I know
but that's why that second hearing needs to happen. But before I get into, Reilly and I are gonna look into some of the videos. This is what we do at the end of every show. Now we watch a couple of the media videos and see what we think is potentially real, what's not. But before we do it, I want to tell you about two of our other sponsors, which both AG1 and BetterHelp. Here you go. I always get excited when I get a chance to talk about AG1. You guys know, if you've been listening to this show long enough, you know that I've been talking about them. I've been drinking them now for, it's got to be at least 2 years. I started drinking AG1. I think Brett Sheridan told me about it. I said, you can't mess around with this, man. You got to try it. And I did. And it's a foundational nutritional supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health. I've heard so many different people now talking about it since we've been talking about it on this show and how much AG1 has helped them. I talk to you guys, a lot of you guys, when we talk to do my one-on-one sessions that I do with people that go, yeah, I started doing AG1 and I love it. It gives me the energy that I need. Parents, I found new parents love this stuff, but everybody loves it. And not only for me did I replace my multivitamin with AG1, because I was never the multivitamin guy. I would try it, and I was like, everyone's telling me, you got to do multivitamins, and I can't do that many vitamins. One scoop. I put it in a water bottle. I put it in a zoo cup. I shake it up. I'm good to go. I recommended AG1 to everybody, my friends, my family, you guys. and it's worked out. It's great. I get energy. I get a pep in my step. I love AG1, and you guys know how long I've been talking about it. People still they'll tweet and they'll X whatever they X me, and they say, "Hey, AG1, you've been talking about it forever. I'm trying it today," and they never go back. AG1 is the supplement that I trust to provide the support that my body needs daily, and that's why they've been a partner for a long time now. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. But you have to go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. drinkag1.com/bigthing. Check it out. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. I've talked to you guys about BetterHelp. A lot of people have been in that position where you're up at night, your thoughts are keeping you up, and you can't enjoy what's going on. I've done that many times. You're trying to fall asleep, and then your brain is just going at 1,000,000 miles per minute. And it turns out one great way to make those racing thoughts go away is to talk them through. Talk them out. Talk to someone. Therapy gives you a place to do that. You can get rid of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace. I have talked about it many times on this show. Both Roxy Stryer, who has also talked about how BetterHelp has helped her tremendously. I have people in my family that have now been using BetterHelp over the course of the last 5 months, has helped them out tremendously. So it helps. So if you are thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's online, it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. If you want to get a break from your thoughts, BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today. You'll get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp.com/bigthing. Talk to someone. It helps. All right, thank you to our friends over at AG1 and BetterHelp. As I mentioned before, if you are able to, you have the means to. The reason we're able to do this show is because of our wonderful sponsors. If you can get them and you can able to contribute and you have the means to do so, please think about doing it. I link it in the description. I put it as the pinned comment. All right, so let's get to some of these videos. Now, as much as I love this one, let's see, I'm going to show you this one first. This is the San Diego one. And here it is. I'll let you see this.
Sarah, get out here!
Oh, that's cool.
What is that?
Nah, those are meteors or like space dust. Wait a minute, they're turning.
Sarah, get out here!
What's that? Is that new?
Why did they just turn?
Sarah!
What was that?
Music's great.
And what is Sarah doing?
I don't know, Sarah, she taking a dump?
Sarah, get out
Come
there.
on, Sarah, show a little. All right, so Sarah never
What?
showed up. All right, so what?
I thought that was
Now,
like
what they said is this is a well-known jump dive technique performed by the Navy SEALs who are based in San Diego. That's what they said for that one.
That is awesome.
But that's why
I was
that's
wondering
why I
about
wanna
that. They're in San Diego, so there's got to be a million things.
But this is why,
flying
like I
around
said,
there.
we'll show things like that too, because you can see something like that.
That-
and you
yeah,
can
that
go,
looked insane.
It looks insane. It looks like, because you said at first, oh, it's a meteor, and then it starts going like this. And
I'm
you're like,
like,
well, what is
what?
that? So you can see, while people could go like that guy, him, and if Sarah ever made it out there, the two of them probably thought, rightfully so,
Yeah.
what was that? Like
Right.
that thing that they saw was more compelling than what I saw.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet there was a major explanation for it.
Yeah.
So, when again, going back to what I said earlier, there are tons of reports that can be explained. No one is disputing that.
Right.
No one is disputing that. Like you can say, oh, well, there's an explanation for that. It's the matter of the fact of going, well, the ones that can't be, just tell me what it is. All right. There's another one here, Reilly. This is an interesting one. This one is from a Twitter account, Think Tank. Pilot records UFO behaving exactly how David Fravor described it. All right, here is the video. And is that red circle?
El Cerro La Silla, el Cerro Las Mitras,
See, look at
la
that.
Sierra
Now.
Madre.
Now, what's that doing?
Y ese día en particular había muy poca nubosidad y
What is that?
estaba despejado.
But it doesn't
casi en su
look. That looks pretty
totalidad
fake to me.
You think it looks fake?
Yeah, it looks doctored.
You think two bouncing around?
Yeah, it looks doctored.
Me di cuenta que debajo de mí venía.
That does not look.
Había un punto
That doesn't look real to me.
Let's
God,
see.
my eyes just went. Nope, I'm not buying that one.
Porque,
But let's see.
Let's see. We'll see if it was. They usually tell you if it was deemed fake or not at the bottom of
me di a
it.
la tarea de ver qué era y me di
Jeez,
cuenta
this
pues, que
guy
era
said that it was indeed an unidentified flying
en
object.
este caso un ovni, no un
After
objeto
landing, I
volador
checked the
no
footage and saw
identificado.
that that's exactly what it was.
Y me
When I
fui,
zoomed in on the
y
clip,
pues,
I
bueno,
noticed
al
that the
hacer
object had
el
very weird,
acercamiento,
rapid
hacer,
movements.
dos,
Did
tres
it just go
cosas
back?
ahí para ver qué era, me di cuenta pues que tenía
When I zoomed in on the clip,
movimientos muy
yeah,
muy
that's what it says.
rápidos.
Okay.
Venía prácticamente a la
The
velocidad
object was
del
flying
avión en
basically
el
at the same
descenso. Estamos
speed we
hablando
were,
de
about
casi
248 miles
500
per hour.
kilómetros por hora en el descenso, 400 kilómetros por hora. Y tenía unos movimientos muy erráticos.
It was moving very awkwardly,
unas
producing
fuerzas
very
que es
strong G-forces.
extremadamente fuertes para
Hey, look at that.
lo
I mean,
que
it's
es
kind of. All right, so you think that looks kind of fakeish. Let's see what it
Fakeish.
says on the bottom.
Does it have anything? Doesn't
It's
have
not
anything.
sped up. Look at the ground. No, this is a few days back. Let's see. Terrifying UAP footage with the commentary. Exactly what we need. This one looks to be. No one's called it out that it was. No, no one's called
I don't
it out
know.
so far.
It's
so
it's hard for me to.
that's the tricky part of all this, right? It's like you don't know which ones are
Yeah.
legit, which ones are doctored, which ones are. It's crazy. So, yeah, man, that was that one, and then there are a couple more. Now this one, UFO goes through a Stargate. This is filmed in Canada. Now who knows what this
After effects or something to do with particle illusion or something like that. And then I discovered this video actually has multiple angles to which it was shot. And I looked at the report that the weatherspace.com
Now what's that?
did on it.
That can't be real.
And it just blew me away. There's also multiple photographs from other different people that have actually taken photographs of this particular event. This happened in Western Canada on Friday night.
You know this.
So when we take a look at this, it's kind of a look back at the Norway spiral. But I think with this, I think it's even more spectacular because we're just seeing something. We're literally seeing something almost like out of a science fiction movie here. This is incredible. If this is truly authentic, then this is an incredible piece of footage that we have here. It looks like some sort of, bluish, whitish kind of.
Yeah, right. I just can't tell. I just can't tell.
And there's not. Hey, go to the. Can you click on
this one?
No.
Which one?
There's nothing said in the comments.
Hold on. I don't know.
These are hard. That it's incredible. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
So the idea, if you consider the idea that you could hit a Stargate and go to another galaxy.
Yeah.
Just like Star Wars.
Yeah, who knows?
Or
I know.
Stargate or whatever you want to say. I mean, fine.
Yeah, this is the last one here. And this is, let's try this one. Here's one, Reilly. Look at this one. So I can't, this one to me seems like one of the corridor crew would do. You ready?
Yep. Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is it? It's slow motion. Let's see where I missed it in slow motion. It's in slow motion.
Here we go.
Oh,
there it is.
I don't know. That one's got to be. That one's definitely.
Yeah.
That's.
I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Let's see. All right, Reilly, this is the one. This is from Peru.
Okay.
A lot of sightings in Peru. There's a lot of controversy with the Peru thing. Like I got not a lot of trouble, but people were mad at me when I said when Attack Peter was on here. I said I don't know about stuff going on in Peru. Maybe that's not true. And they said, listen, there's a lot of things that these villagers are getting attacked. But here's.
This is the same deal. Like kind of.
Well, look, let's see. Where is? I don't see anything yet. You? Oh, there it is.
There it
Let's
is.
see
Oh,
Ya lo vi, ya lo vio mi cámara ya.
Okay.
¿Está veniendo para acá?
De ayer está acá. De
It's
ayer
kind of disappearing in and out.
está. ¿No?
Vecino, le he visto con
I
su
mean,
gancho
that kind of
colgando,
stuff
vecino.
is.
Parece
I
títere, la
buy
mueve.
that. What is
It's
that?
like going in and out of the clouds.
Yeah.
There it is again.
Es
See it?
espía,
Yeah, I
es
see
espía.
it.
Por eso necesita quejarnos, leyendo periodista.
Yeah. It almost looks like a
No,
fly
hace
on the
algo,
screen.
Yeah.
va a hacer eso.
Yeah, it disappeared.
It's right there.
There it is now.
Estén, allá estén. Hoy dijo ese el bola, ¿no? Encima del árbol, ¿no?
Like, what's in Peru? Like, that they want? I'm curious.
Por
'Cause they-
encima de la casa,
not nothing. I'm just saying. Like,
Ay,
it seems like what's in Peru? Obviously, what's in U.S. What's in Russia? What like is Peru? Peru doesn't have like nuclear stuff, do they? Well, how do you say
know.
nuclear? Because people got mad when you said it.
Oh, because I can't say nuclear?
Yeah, you said however you said it.
Nuclear.
People got mad at you last time.
Those people are dumb.
Anyway, so that's usually what we do on the show. We show like some of the stuff at the end. You can leave your opinions and whatever you think.
Now, I don't know. I mean, I buy that's kind of
that
when
one
you
was-
see it.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's
What is it? That's a what is it, and that could be anything type thing.
we're
There's no-
looking for. We're trying to find the get the footage.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You tried the other night. It was
tried.
valiant effort.
I tried, and who knows that if it was during the daytime, if it would have looked like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know. Look, a lot that we talked about here today. To me, the most intriguing stuff is essentially the confirmation from all these different whistleblowers that everything that this retrieval program, like, yeah, the thing we talked about last week about breaching the hull, about, the fact that David Grusch said there's this retrieval program, the fact that people for years upon years upon years have been saying this. And now you get more people now that are coming out and going, yes, he says it's like a new whistleblower every single day from these programs are coming out and not just ex-military people. It's like, I don't know. I'm so curious to hear what you guys think. Please sound off in the comments because it's fascinating to me. Should I be as like, is this, am I wrong that this is not such an amazing story? Or do you guys think, it's just another story? I'm very curious to hear all your thoughts. Please comment. Let me know. Mark Reilly, where can the good people find you?
Go find me on the internet at Reilly Around. I'll be there.
You'll be over there. So make sure you also, if you haven't already on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found, you can find us. We're here every Tuesday. And I also have the big thing that's on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're doing pop culture, movie stuff. If you want to join the Patreon, if you want some extra stuff that Reilly and I will be talking about, that's going to be starting up in November. You will get extra UAP stuff where we'll take your questions and we even kind of video some of you in. But you got to go to patreon.com/thebigthingshow and join up today. And yeah, man. So thank you for joining us here. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween on this Tuesday. And thank you again for all the support, for everybody coming in, everybody checking it out. If you're brand new to the channel, again, subscribe, hit the like button. Thanks for all the new subscribers. We'll be back again next week doing the UAP stuff. For myself and Mark Reilly, we'll see you on the flip side. Bye.